Tonight's dinner, I think quite an impressive rendition of imitation steak. It's a filet mignon, one of those little round, does that mean cute steak in French? I don't know. I have a couple of peaches. I'm going to sort of grill / fry a couple of peaches as an accompaniment to the filet mignon. It's a bit less French and glamorous. One of these pots of Idahoan mash. This is the bubble and squeak flavour, so that's wonderfully incongruous with that slightly pretentious French steak with peaches. Maybe I'll boil some water first and then I can put that in there and just leave that to go cold. That's the view from where I'm sitting. I'm hoping as the sun gets a bit lower in the sky it'll be a bit more visible. There are people walking past at occasional intervals. There's a path just down there. I'm not in any way in a stealthy spot, but I'm not camping, just here to cook some dinner, enjoy the sunset, have a glass of wine and go home. Hopefully nobody is going to complain about that. It is a bit windy here, and this, I'm surprised no one's ever commented, this windshield is basically inadequate. It's not actually tall enough for this gas stove setup. And that's all a little bit precarious, but it'll probably work. Is that even in shot? Perhaps while the water's boiling, I can chop up a peach or two. Do I really need both? I don't know. I did give these a wash at home. They're theoretically clean. You want to see the action? This is all I brought the knife for. It's just to chop up a couple of peaches. What do we think? Quarters? I don't know. I feel now halves might have been more elegant, but there we go. They're at the sort of firmest state, which is ripe, if that makes sense. Once I get any squishier than this, they would have been a big mess in my bag. The billy can has boiled. I'll probably cooled down a bit because I had to go and run halfway across Sisbury Ring to find a bag that had blown away in the wind. I can pour that in there to that fill line. Oh, it's just about the right amount of water. Great. I think I'm supposed to give that a stir, aren't I, as well? That only needs a minute, so that's going to be ready long before anything else is. Bit of oil can go in. There's one. Put the seasoning on now, on one side at least. Bit of salt, bit of pepper. It is inevitably going to stick on the bottom. This is not a particularly non-stick pan. Rumours of it being non-stick have been greatly exaggerated. Season the other side. I think sealed that a bit. Peaches around the edges. This is a strange idea, isn't it? I'm sure this is a thing and it exists, and I haven't just made up crazy peaches, and I might not be able to fit all of those in. Is that enough peach? Cheffy Chambertin, of course it is. I'm having steak after a fashion, some sort of French food. Lovely, intense, dense, refined cherry aroma there. Rich and silky on the palate, it's just the way I like it. Cheers. Brought along some butter, and I do have to use it at some point, so maybe that can go in now, I don't know. And I'm glad it's not just burning for a change, because that seems to happen a lot whenever I try and fry anything on this gas stove. Definitely some sort of cooking happening, because I can hear the sizzling, but not exactly going particularly quickly either. Yeah, it's still going very slowly. I think it's partly the wind here. It was sizzling, so you know it's obviously cooking. Slow saute. There we go. I had a little ferret around in my booze cupboard at home and found the last of a set of these little miniature whiskies. I think they were trying to recreate, this might have been a present, possibly my friend Owl gave me these as a present. I think I've drank all of the rest, and for some reason this orphan is left behind. Perhaps I should have a little swig of it to see what it actually tastes like before I So it's apparently trying to recreate a distillery called Strathodon, which presumably closed, or it says here, closed in 1926, and based on records of how the malt was made, they've tried to recreate something like that flavour by blending together malts from other distilleries. That's the idea. Possibly a bit of a waste to put this in cooking, but it's just what I had to hand. Sorry, Al, if you're watching. I did drink and enjoy the other ones in a more appreciative fashion. Alas, it is destined for the frying pan, so I reckon this will be really nice. So it's actually quite peaty, even though it's it looks more like a lowland malt from the location to me, Fife. But it's relatively peated actually. Tasting notes are malty, orange peel, chocolate and peat. Sounds absolutely perfect to go in some fake steak and some peaches. Brought along a tray. It is just for a cheap gag. It'll make sense later. I taste a bit of that steak, see how it's doing. Buttery whiskey sauce. I think I might just say this is done now. It's really strange today. The gas stove is, I don't know, struggling in the wind or something, and it's usually things just get burnt to a crisp in seconds, but that's where we're at. I mean, there's definitely been some browning and some cooking, and it's not exactly going to give me food poisoning, is it? But that is my weird creation, filet mignon with peaches and a whiskey and butter sauce. And that is really good. So rich, sort of boozy. Let's try a bit of the peach. And that has, on the one hand, soaked up some of the whiskey and given it a really interesting dimension, but on the other hand is a sort of refreshing break from the richness of the rest of the dish. Probably all going to think this is really weird, but I think that's delicious. Steak and peaches. The least cheffy component of this meal, this strange meal, the instant bubble and squeak. It's really not bad as instant mash goes. This Idahoan brand it's a huge step up above my childhood memories of smash, which always had a really weird flavour that was very distant from potato. I think if I'm honest, I'd say I prefer the plainer varieties of this Idahoan. The vegetables they've added there reminds me of the dried vegetables you get with instant ramen. Those instant noodles sometimes have a little packet of dried vegetables and it has that sort of flavour. Time for some more Gevrey Chambertin, I think. And now we have cherries thrown into the mix. Peaches, cherries, all the good stuff. I can see some parasol mushrooms over there. I think these two chaps here might be parasol mushrooms, but as always, don't quote me on that. They're just sort of in the early stages before they've kind of opened up. Absolutely could be wrong there. Part of the reason I say that is over here, not far away, we have some specimens that have opened up, and not much in the mushroom kingdom gets sort of big like that. So as always, don't take my word for it. I'm very much an uninformed amateur, but I think they might be parasols. All finished. That really was incredible. I'm sure some of you will be a little bit skeptical about the idea of steak with peaches, but I really enjoyed that. And perhaps the fact that the gas stove was struggling a bit to get up to a really sort of fierce burn was maybe a good thing. None of that was burnt, and it cooked sort of slowly and gently over probably more than 20 minutes, I guess it was there, just gradually sizzling away. Really enjoyed that. Absolutely delicious. Whiskey butter, peaches, lovely combination. It was really nice to sort of soak up the sauce with the leftover peaches at the end. We'll forget about the instant bubble and squeak. That was perhaps letting the side down. That's my little sitting spot there, beautifully bathed in this, getting on for sunset light now. Base of this lovely old oak tree. That little tray does add a bit more stability to my useless camping table. There we go, hashtag leave no trays. Oh no, I've left a tray.